Hello and welcome to Season 1, Episode 1 of Third Man In, where we talk all things Supercoach. I'm Nick.
I'm Milan.
And the footy is back, Milan.
It's back. Finally. It's agonising wait.
It's been a huge build-up to this season. We've got the start list today. It's the biggest day of Supercoach.
Cricket season's over, footy season's up.
It's all about NRL. It's all about Tuesday evenings, waiting for those teams to come out.
That's it.
And we've got these round one lists and we're ready to go through them. We're ready to look at the cheapies, get them into our teams and get our squads finalised for the Supercoach season.
Hopefully you've seen a few of the mini episodes we've released pre-season to help you on your way. I don't know if it's helped you, but best of luck.
So we're going to get right into it now with the cheapies. Now everyone's no doubt probably seen the starting list now, so we won't go naming everyone, but we're definitely going to compare some of the best cheapies that we see out there. So we'll get straight into it, starting with the fullbacks. Not a big selection there really. We've got Gerard Beale and Corey Thompson, which was a bit of a surprise for the Bulldogs.
Yep.
An 87k buy. My concern with him is with Tim Lafau and Drew Lowe still injured, due to come back early in the season. Not really sure what's going to happen when they come back. So
job security isn't there, but then again, is a potential cheapie to possibly get a bit of a price rise, but especially if it has a big first game. They'll play the Broncos, so there is a good chance that he could score a few tries. So yeah, definitely want to watch.
He's got that opportunity, and that's I guess all he needs. But our number one pick, I guess I think we both had Gerard Beale. Now he's at 124k. He's not a fantastic cheapie, but he's playing in the centres, mind you, for quite an awful Dragons team. But
a lot more job security.
Yeah, that's pretty much why we've got him as number one, job security. So moving on to something a bit more positive with the centre wings. Young Tuanamape, I think it's pronounced.
Yep.
For the Storm. Now he's been named on the wing. It looks like with Duffy out for quite an extended time that he's got that wing spot wrapped up. So job security wise, got lots of points there, and obviously with the Storm, they're always scoring points. So that's 87k.
Will be interesting. Have you seen him play much?
Not at all.
No. Neither have I. That was a bit of a shock selection there. I didn't see that one coming at all, but I didn't get to see the Storm trial games, so I don't know if he played or not. But definitely with a few key injuries to the back line and them losing a few players to the Titans, definitely one to keep your eye on.
Now, number two, I think, who did you have for number two centre-backs?
Well, I think I had the old Willie Tonga. I can't believe I'm saying this because I don't really rate him.
You're not a big fan, are you?
I don't really rate him. But, but at that cheap price range, 114.9k, in Parramatta Eels side that everyone reckons is sort of going to go good. You never know.
They can't go much worse, can they?
Well, he can't be that much worse, but apparently from all reports, he's looking fit and healthy, strong as he's ever been.
He looked really, really good in the Nines, supporting Radraja. But he had, I think, a couple assists with him, so he looked actually quite fit in that, I thought. So
114k.
Yeah, it's hard. It's starting centre. I don't see anyone really coming back to take that. So I think he's got the job security. And
definitely,
he'll definitely get a good chance there. So is our second choice. Moving to third, I think we also actually have the same for this. Carlos Tuamavave.
Yep, shot selection really.
From the Warriors. He's very cheap at 102k. I'm not really sure why he's that low, but
must be pretty good to keep Conrad Hurrell out of the first week.
Yeah, well, I mean, I'd probably have him as my 1 or 2 pick, but purely because Conrad Hurrell isn't there, and you've got, you've got to think he's got to be back there at some point this year. So you've got Dane Nielsen or Tuamavave to drop out. So
that's right.
Job security is my main worry with him, but while he's playing for the centres. I think the Warriors are going to have a great season. Playing off the likes of Sean Johnson, I think it's such a low price and great buy. So as long as he can keep his spot, we'll just have to see. I'm not really sure what the deal with Hurrell is. So.
Depends how you really select your team. If you're just looking for a cheap centre to sit there and hopefully use one day, then he might be definitely a guy to go to. Because we all know Vadavai gets injured pretty quickly. and he's out for lots of games, so he might get a slot up. So yeah, definitely one you probably want to buy.
Moving to the halves now, it's another kind of slim pickings there. We've had Luke Keary drop out. Mitch Cornish for the Raiders, who was in the running, is basically lost out to Jack Whiten, who's actually only available in the centres. So
a few young Broncos halves were just
Nikorima, Strasser, nothing with them. So we're kind of very slim pickings. They're all about the 150, 145 mark. So I've got Townsend as number one. Pretty much purely because he's going to be playing with Sean Johnson. I really rate the Warriors this year. I'm probably going to say it a few times, but...
but I won't be on the back of that guy.
Yeah, well, I'm just thinking the Warriors might carry him to some points. But, I mean, he's at 150. It's not ideal, but at this point, I'm just not sure who else to put there. So, I'm not going to put Ben Hunt there from the Broncos, that's for sure. So...
Well, I've got Moore-Hampton from Storm.
Yeah.
I think he's the cheap after pick till Keary comes back in, I think, round 10 or 11, or hopefully sooner. At 145k, although round 1 he's got to do it all. He's got Ben Roberts partnering with him, so I feel sorry for him.
Could be a huge score for round 1.
But yeah, if you need that cheapy 5.5 in your team, especially if you're going to put more your money in the forwards, then probably one half definitely to have.
Yep. Second row forwards, they're not the greatest amount, but for number 1 I've gone Pete's here now. He's obviously dual position for the forwards and second row, but I think there's a lot more depth in terms of cheapies for the forwards, so I think he's a lot more value in that second row position. There's not really much to say about him. He's the starting hooker at 102.
I would be surprised who doesn't have him in his team. Yeah, Pete's. He's just you have to have. It's the must-have cheapie.
Yeah. Number 2, probably a bit of a surprise from today's team list that a lot of Supercoaches will be happy with. Pallavi from the Warriors, who was named at starting lock. So
it's been interesting.
Yeah, so that's some good news. So some relief for us Supercoaches there in the cheapie ranks. Only 94k. You got to think at that starting lock position, he's going to get based on the Warriors' minutes last year, should be getting at least 40 minutes, possibly 43, 45 minutes. But in saying that, at that price, even if he is dropping to 35, minutes, he's still one of the best out there at starting lock. You got to think he's going to be amongst the action.
Well, that's it. Another cheap second row forward option. But I guess what you got to be mindful of is the Warriors are forward packed, so it's just whether that's your style that you're going for. But yeah, definitely want to come into cover, especially in the international series. So it'll be interesting.
So the forwards, I think the number 1 pick's pretty obvious for that.
Yeah, definitely.
Josh Starling from Manly, obviously with King out, he takes that starting prop position.
Yeah, if he has a good solid showing, he might just force kick into the bench. I don't know. I'm not a Jason King fan. I don't know what they're saying him, but if he is a junior Australian representative, definitely, definitely an option that you need to have if you're that cheap forward. But potential game, definitely a lot of potential game time there.
Yeah, even when King comes back, if he's moved to the bench, he's going to be that third pick forward anyway. Yeah, so I think his minutes are still going to be fine. So I think he's going to be there in the team. Number 2, I had Sione Lausi. He's a bit more expensive at the 124 mark, but he's a big boy. He's got a great offload.
He's a beast.
He can really his minutes might not be the 40 plus. It's hard to, as you mentioned, the Warriors forward pack is quite big, but
his offloads and tackle busts and line breaks might be out there.
He's one of those kind of impact players, and could if he starts to impress, he definitely can push for more minutes. So I really rate him. I think he can do well this year. And the third choice...
I've gone with Shannon Boyd from the Raiders. A bit of a smoky there, but he has been named on the bench. He's been injury plagued last season, but he's hopefully come back a little bit fitter and stronger. He must be doing alright if he's earned himself a bench spot on especially a Ricky Stewart bench. So he must see a bit of faith in the young guy. So yeah, definitely 87.5k. Definitely a good cheap forward. If he impresses in his first round, you never know. Ricky Stewart might keep him. So yeah, definitely want to watch.
For the third choice, I had Paul Carter. Now, there was a lot of Supercoach interest in him, obviously, with
I think everyone had him in there.
All the injuries, at the Titans. Now, Beau Falloon's got the nod for the starting hooker role, but Carter's still got the 17th jersey at the moment, so if he can get a start, there are some big raps on him, and he can also play as a second row as well. So I think if he can get some minutes in these first few games before the likes of Schreimer comes back, if he can impress, he might be able to hold that bench spot, which for an 87k player, is still worth the value. So if he can force his way to some minutes, I think he could be a really good buy and make some money.
Yeah, definitely. A lot of slim pickings this first round. So
yeah,
it's already hard enough as it is, and then coaches aren't really picking any of the cheapies that you really lock in. But then again, when I pick my team, I'm usually forward heavy anyway. So, but yeah, how about you? How'd you go?
Yeah, I'm struggling. I'm not really sure what I'm doing at the moment. So I really shouldn't say this on camera. But, yeah, it's a tough one. There's a lot of, the extended benches, that always kills it.
Yep.
Particularly those 17th mans, the likes of Paul Carter and whatnot, they could get flung in the last moment. And you've got those near misses as well. You've got Mbaya from the Bulldogs, who there are huge raps on him. He's got the 18th man jersey at the moment. So
that's right. Even Kane Evans for the Roosters, things are not coming up. Yeah, has impressed. So he's on an extended bench. Just everyone knows extended bench is the killer of Supercoach sides. But hopefully these are the few cheap choices. Excuse me, and hopefully we can help you out a bit there.
Definitely. Now we're going to look at some of the key decisions that everyone might be struggling to make.
Yeah, so we received some feedback from the Facebook and Twitter accounts. Also, a few of the pages on Facebook that we're associated with, so NRL News and also Supercoach Addicts. So, guys, thanks for your feedback. But let's get into the few position dilemmas which seem to be popping up. So, hopefully, we can help you out. So, we'll start off with the fullbacks, which is
We've got Jared Hayne and Anthony Milford, who are one of the big decisions that a lot of people have mentioned.
Yeah, both reasonably priced too for what they average. So this will definitely be interesting.
Yeah, it's an interesting one. Their averages last year were very similar. We've got their 60.6 and 59.2 for Milford. So Milford obviously had that breakout season. He impressed a lot of people. Whereas on the other side, you've got Jared Hayne, who basically he played for the Eels, so
pretty much, he's Parramatta. He's Parramatta Eels. He's just
and we've mentioned it before. There's not really much lower that the Eels can get, and given that Hayne actually had a higher average than Milford with the season that he had, and Hayne's been a Supercoach guy in the past. He's been one of the heavyweights, so there's so much potential there. When you look, they're quite. Last year they were quite similar in a lot of their stats. And when you look at the attacking stats for both teams, you've got Parramatta, who had a total of 326, which was by far the lowest in the league, and Canberra had 434. So
and Jared Hayne was averaging 60.6. That's just crazy.
So to average that with Para scoring that little amount of points, I think the potential to make money and to score more points is there for Haynes, so I think he's got to be our pick for that one.
So that's the third man you pick, Jared Hayne, locking that in?
That's the one. Moving to the centre wings now, one of the matchups that a lot of people had mentioned was Jamie Lyon and Michael Jennings. So you want to take us through that one?
Well, yeah, it's funny. The matchup is the grand finalists from last year, but yeah, definitely we've got Jamie Lyon coming in about 309,000 and Jennings coming in at 272. Obviously, Lyon's pipping him a bit in the average total year. Obviously, probably goal kicking helps. But considering that the average is pretty similar and Jennings did play fewer games, definitely a hard battle to pick between the two.
Yeah, particularly. I think Jennings scored, was it 4 tries in the World Cup Challenge?
Yeah.
3 or 4 tries? Yeah, so, he looks in form. Their stats from last year were actually quite similar in terms of the attack, and it's very much that goal kicking that makes that difference. So, and then when you weigh in Origin as well, obviously Lyons retired, Jennings likely to get that New South Wales spot. I think Jamie Lyon might pick that one.
Yeah, still think Jamie Lyon is my lock-in. He's a solid performer every year. Jennings was more of a standout performer last year.
Yeah.
but although the World Club Challenge did impress me, but I'll be more inclined to pick Jamie Lyon at this stage.
Jamie Lyon it is.
So now we're getting into the great halves debate. Obviously, looking at the pages, it was Jonathan Thurston, which I think is almost a must in most teams last year, against Sean Johnson, which has been in some amazing form if you've been watching the Nines and the trial form. So how do you say this one, Nick?
Look, just to be clear, I did say Johnson before the trials and the Nines. So everyone's jumped on him now, of course. But look, he's 70 grand.
Maybe not everyone if they keep asking the question.
Well, yeah, true. That's true. That's what we're here for.
That's what we're here for.
70 grand cheaper. Look, I think Thurston will probably score more. He averaged 76 last year. Johnson was just over the 61 mark. But interesting stat. Obviously, the Warriors had an absolute woeful first half of the season. Barely won a game.
Touched on by Parramatta in that first round. So
yeah,
doesn't say a lot.
But when you look at Johnson's average for just that second half, it's actually 74, over 74. So which is almost at that
in the back half,
mark.
is it?
Yeah, back half of the season. So when the Warriors are doing well, Johnson's scoring well, and I'll say it again, I think the Warriors are going to have a big season. So I really think, and Johnson's going to have a lot to do with that. I think he's in money making potential. He's got it. I think he's got the ability to be one of, if not the leading half in terms of Supercoach.
He's about 70k cheaper at the moment.
Yeah.
So
I'm all over Johnson. He's obviously a Kiwi as well. He'll take you through Origin. So
lock it in. Third man pick is Sean Johnson. So now moving on to the second row forward option, which there is like 1,000 of them. You guys have come up with two critical questions from what we could see. So the first one was Jason Bakuya, sorry, I can't pronounce his names, from the Warriors, up against apprentice Elijah Taylor. So, Nick, how do you see this one?
It's an interesting one, both at obviously new clubs this year, so just to throw a spanner in the works. Bakuya was solid for the Sharks. He goes into a big New Zealand forward pack.
He did come from a star-studded
Sharks team. That's true. So with the likes of Simon Mannering and the players from the bench, you got Felipe Mateo, of course, who was named 17th man. So he has come off the bench in the past and played 60 minutes in that second row position. So I'm unsure. He played an average of 55 minutes last year. I'm unsure there's much improvement in that.
Yep.
Whereas Elijah Taylor, with an average of 60 minutes last year and a slightly higher points per minute than Bakuya, I think Taylor will really possibly become that central workhorse in the Panthers.
Yeah, I think so too. He will be their guy. I think they'll alternate between him and probably Adam Docker, but yeah, I see Elijah Taylor as the mainstay there.
Yeah.
Definitely the way Penrith play. They're probably going to need him out there. He's a tackling machine. So, and he's young and fit. So there must be a reason why Ivan Cleary brought him over. So what's the pick for third winning?
I think, look, even though he's, I think, a 40-odd thousand more, but I think Elijah Taylor definitely, in point scoring ability, is the third man in pick there.
Okay, so we'll move on to the other great debate. Probably a little bit pricier, but not much, but definitely a question a lot of people were asking was Trent Merrin from the Dragons versus Sean Fenton. So how do you see this one? Because I had Merrin almost penciled in my side until we started reviewing the stats, but yeah, definitely a few little key ones here.
This was probably our most difficult one when we looked at it. A lot of the stats are very similar. Merrin does outplay him in terms of the points with an average of 75 over 67. He has the higher points per minute. He averages less minutes at only 62 minutes compared to Fenson's 72 last year. Merrin's really good with the offloads. He's
I think it was 10.7. I think.
Yeah,
on average.
Average is 10.7 a game.
Points.
I mean, you've got a concern when your lock is your main attacking weapon of the team for the Dragons, as it was last year, it seems. So.
Can get him in a dual position too, which
this
year. But Fenton is a solid tackler, just a million tackles. Yeah. So that's where his main points are, and we do know Ricky Stewart does love at least one defensive-minded back row to stay on for a full 80, and if that's any man that can do it, is Sean Fenton. So, and then unfortunately he doesn't play Origin. Can come in at a good cover, but how are you seeing this one go down though? It's very tight.
Yeah, it is very tight, but I think given Merrin's price, if you are going for the highest level, there probably is a couple better buys. Which leaves Merrin 40k under, Fensom 40k under, obviously better value, take a few origins. So I think on that alone, I'm probably in favour of Fensom and hoping he can improve those average minutes from 72.
So Fensom for value, pretty much that's what's
pretty much for
tipping you
value.
over.
I think Merrin's the better Supercoach player,
Yep.
but I think right now Fensom might be the go.
Okay, lock it in.
Now, one of our biggest forward comparisons that people have asked for is between Brenton Lawrence from Manly and Jared Warrior-Hargreaves, of course, from the Roosters. Brenton Lawrence, obviously one of those emerging players, he's very much the future of that Manly forward pack. And we'll start with Jason King injured as the prime prop for them. So a lot of potential there. Both these players have one of the highest points per minutes in the game. Lawrence at 1.21, Warrior-Hargreaves at 1.25. So that's actually in the top 10, as you might have seen in that stats video that we did.
And I think what Lawrence is averaging, just under 54, over 44 minutes. It'd be interesting to see, how many more points he gets, I imagine, as a starting prop, and probably the senior prop, definitely for the first game. We'll be getting a lot more game time.
You've got to think he's got to be getting close to, if not over that 50-minute mark.
Does play like second rower.
Which
can do some things.
It's got to put his average up over 60, you'd think, at the most. And, obviously we've seen a lot of players like that when they take on that leadership role, workload and whatnot often comes with that, an increase. Warrior-Hargreaves, look, he's a very strong player. We all know what he can do. Has the tendency to possibly go off the handle every now and then.
Yeah. It's fun to watch though.
Yeah, it's always great to watch.
But 19, an average of 62 in 19 games, it's pretty impressive.
Yeah. He's 40k more than Brenton Lawrence. I think with Lawrence's increased minutes, I'm unsure with Warrior-Hargreaves. Roosters have a very strong pack as well, so I'm not sure Warrior-Hargreaves will increase, and he very much has that big impact kind of on impact player. So I think there's more room to improve with Brenton Lawrence, and given the kind of focus on value for the start of the season, I think Lawrence might be the pick there.
So here at Third Man In, we picked Brenton Lawrence. So that's it for this week's episode of Third Man In. Next week we have a few little more extras lined up. I think we have the Supercoach winner from last year, hopefully sending us through some of his key advice and points to hopefully help us all through the season.
Yeah, and we're also hopefully going to have our very first Third Man In rant.
This should be something good to watch.
Yeah, so it's something we've been hoping to have as yet. Our Third Man In has had some prior engagements, so to speak. Yeah. So hopefully he's back.
He's an idiot
for this. Hopefully he's back for the season ahead next week. So it's a good opportunity to get some of the anger out that our Supercoaches face from week to week.
And I think we all know. I think we all have definitely things that we're angry about when it comes to Supercoach. But feel free to send us through any questions, guys. Anything that you want us to cover in the show as well. So just follow our links, our Facebook page, and also our Twitter handle.
Definitely, and share the word. We're new to this, but hoping to grow this into a bit of a production. So, appreciate any support you can provide. So, I think that's it for this week. So until next week, happy tinkering.
See you later.